The story begins with a couple named Tim and Millie. They are not unhappy, but something between them feels broken. Life in the city had slowly pushed them apart. Busy schedules, stress, and silence had replaced warmth and connection. Hoping for a fresh start, they moved to Millie's parents' old house near a quiet mountain village. The place is peaceful. Surrounded by trees and hills, it feels far away from noise and pressure. Millie starts teaching at a nearby village school. Tim stays home most days, trying to adjust to the slower life. At first, things feel better, but the distance between them has not fully disappeared. One day, they decide to go trekking in the nearby mountain forest. They want adventure. They want to feel alive again. The forest trail looks safe in the beginning. Tall trees, soft wind, birds in the distance. They walk only a short distance when they notice something strange. The path suddenly ends. They look around, confused. Turning back feels pointless since they just started. That's when Tim notices another narrow path going off to the side. It looks old and less used. Along the trees hanging over this path are small copper bells. Each bell has strange symbols carved into it. When the wind blows, the bells make a soft ringing sound. Millie feels uneasy. Something about the bells doesn't feel right, but Tim doesn't take it seriously. He thinks it's some old local tradition. Holding Millie's hand, he leads her down the strange path. They have no idea this decision will change their lives forever. After walking a little further, the weather suddenly changes. The sky darkens. Heavy rain begins to pour out of nowhere. The ground becomes slippery. As they struggle to move forward, Tim's foot suddenly slips. The ground beneath him gives way. Tim falls into a hidden pit covered with an old net. Millie screams and runs to help him, but the wet ground causes her to lose balance. She slips and falls into the pit as well. Both of them fall deep down into a dark, cave-like hole. They survive only because there is water at the bottom. Bruised and shocked, they try to understand where they are. The pit is deep. The walls are steep and wet. They try using their phones, but there is no signal. The rain continues to pour above them. They realize no one will hear them. With no way out, they decide to wait. They find some dry wood stuck between rocks and manage to light a small fire. The night feels long and cold. Fear slowly settles in. Their drinking water runs out. With no other choice, Tim drinks water from the pit and gives some to Millie as well. As they sit near the fire, they start talking. They talk about the past, about how city life slowly created distance between them. Millie shares how teaching makes her feel useful again. She also talks about her colleague at school, Jamie. On her first day, he welcomed her warmly and told her about the mountain trails. He was the one who suggested trekking in the forest. Morning finally arrives. When they wake up, horror hits them instantly. Their legs are stuck together. A thick, sticky substance has glued their skin. It feels unnatural. Tim believes it might be moisture mixed with fungus from the pit. Fighting through pain, they pull their legs apart. The skin stretches painfully, but they manage to separate. Using vine-like plants hanging down the pit walls, they slowly climb out. Exhausted and shaken, they make their way back home. For a short time, things feel different between them. Trauma has softened the distance. That evening, Millie offers Tim a massage. As Tim presses her shoulder, he suddenly feels something strange. His hand sinks into her back. It feels as if her body has turned soft, sticky, alive. His hand seems to fuse with her skin. Millie screams in pain. Tim pulls back in fear. His heart pounds. Neither of them understands what just happened. The moment the door closes, Tim grabs Millie and kisses her forcefully. Suddenly, Tim feels sharp pain. It feels like someone bit his lip.
Millie believes Tim did it. Angry and confused, she walks away to her room. Tim stands there silently, unsure of what just happened.
That night, Millie wakes up feeling her hair being pulled. She tries to wake Tim, but he doesn't respond. She turns on the light. Her hair is stuffed inside Tim's mouth. Tim wakes up screaming and pulls the hair out in panic. Both are terrified. Neither has an explanation. The next morning, she tried to focus on the children, but her mind kept drifting back to Tim. When the class ended, she checked a student's notebook and froze. Inside was a drawing of two people stuck together, their bodies melting into one. The image made her stomach turn. During the break, Millie video called a friend. While talking, she noticed a figure outside the classroom window. Her breath caught. It was Tim. She rushed outside and pulled him in. His eyes looked different, restless, hungry, as if he needed something he could not name. Without warning, he dragged her into the washroom. They held each other tightly, fear and desire mixed together. When it was over, they tried to pull apart. They couldn't. Their skin clung again. Panic filled the room. With all their strength, they forced themselves apart. The noise drew attention from outside. Terrified that this incident could destroy her job, Millie sent Tim away. Shaking, she drove straight to Jaime's house. Jaime listened calmly as Millie begged him not to tell anyone what happened at school. She broke down and told him everything, about the cave, the sticking skin, the fear. Jaime surprised her by saying he understood. He told her his own story. Once, he said, he and his girlfriend were deeply in love. Over time, distance grew between them. They argued, they separated. His voice softened as he spoke, as if remembering something painful. Before the conversation could end, Millie noticed someone standing outside the window. Tim. Fear rushed through her. She quickly said goodbye and left. That night, Tim searched the internet again. He studied the missing couple's case carefully. Their last photo was taken near the cave. The bells were clearly visible behind them. As Tim zoomed in, a loud bang hit the glass door behind him. The door shook violently, a stranger's face pressed against the glass. Heart pounding, Tim opened the door. Nothing was there. But suddenly, a powerful force pulled him backwards. Millie screamed as she was dragged toward him from the other room. Their bodies slammed together. They stuck again. Tim shouted Millie's name, but she collapsed unconscious. After he shook her awake, they sat silently at the table. Millie tried to explain it away. Maybe stress, maybe a seizure. Tim refused to accept that. He reminded her that nothing like this had ever happened before the cave. He spoke about the missing couple and the bells. Millie didn't want to hear it. She said Tim was imagining things. She decided they would sleep in separate rooms again. That night, Tim felt his body move on its own. Slowly, against his will, he walked toward Millie's room. At the same time, her door opened. She stepped out, moving stiffly, eyes empty. Their palms met. Pain exploded. Their hands began to merge. Tim remembered the medicine. With Millie's weak help, he grabbed it. Pills fell on the floor. They swallowed them quickly. The effect was slow, but enough. With terrible pain, they pulled their hands apart. Blood stained the floor. Exhaustion took over. When Tim woke up, morning light filled the room. He was tied to a chair. A chainsaw lay on the floor, its engine running. Millie stood in front of him, shaking. Without saying a word, she poured medicine into his mouth. Then she picked up the chainsaw. Crying and screaming, she cut through the skin where their hands were fused. They were separated. After bandaging their wounds, Millie said they must go to the hospital. Then she remembered her car keys were still at Jaime's house. She rushed out. Tim, weak but clear-minded, knew the hospital would not save them. The cave would. Inside the cave, Tim saw strange paintings on the walls. Two people stuck back to back, symbols matching the bells. The truth hit him hard. At Jaime's house, Millie entered when no one answered. The television turned on itself. A video played, a ritual inside an old church. A secret group believed true love meant becoming one forever. No distance, no walls, no separation. Jaime appeared behind her and smiled. He called it a blessing,
As he spoke, he cut Millie's hand deeply. She fought back, hit him, and ran. In the cave, Tim slipped on the sticky substance again. A terrifying creature appeared. It had 2 heads. 2 voices cried for help. Tim recognized the red hair. It was the missing couple. One head had a knife stuck in the neck. In fear, Tim pulled the knife out and used it to fight back. He cut the creature's fingers and escaped the cave. Outside, he ran straight into Millie. They tried to step away.
They couldn't. This time, they stopped fighting it. Tim dropped to his knees and took out a ring. He told Millie everything he had kept inside for years. Love, fear, regret. She understood. But Tim believed only one thing could end the curse: sacrifice. He placed the knife against his throat. Then he remembered the creature. Maybe they had tried the same thing and failed. Millie collapsed from blood loss. Tim panicked. He rushed to her and pressed his hand against her wound. The bleeding slowed. Their hands fused again. This time, there was no pain. Days later, Millie's parents arrived. The door opened. Tim and Millie stood there, together, no longer two. And somewhere deep in the forest, the bells rang softly again. If this story gave you chills, don't forget to like and subscribe for more simple, deep horror stories like this. Your support helps the channel grow, and the next nightmare is already waiting.